number of closed islands. So you just have to find the number of closed islands and return the count. So what does 0 mean? 0 in this question means land, and 1 in this question means water, and 4 zeros are going to form an island. And if it's completely surrounded by ones, it means it's a closed island. So first we start the answer by getting the directions. So you get the rows and columns and assign it m and n. Then you start by defining the DFS function, which takes in a row and a column, which is it will start from the starting position, which is RC, which will be 1 1. Now these are the bound checks. So you check if we went outside the grid. So if r is less than 0, greater than or equal to m, or c is less than 0 n, or c is greater than or equal to n. In any case, it will return false if even one of them is true. Now, if grid of r and c, so the row and column that we are currently exploring, we're going to mark it as true, which means that if the DFS, we're not going to mark it as true. Over here, we are checking if it is equal to 1, which means if it is water, so there is nothing more to explore in that direction. That's what we are checking over here. So it returns true because it means that this direction did not cause the island to touch the boundary. So this particular path that we were exploring, it's all right, like it's good to go. Then over here, line 9, grid RC, so the row and column, the cell that we are currently at, we are going to mark it as visited, which means we mark it as 1. Then these are our 4 directions, so we call DFS on all 4 directions, and then we return with and in between, which means all 4 directions should return true. Even if one of them returns a false, the DFS function will then return a false. So once we have explored all 4 directions and returned it, then we outside our DFS function, we are going to start by declaring a count initialized to 0, and then we will check for r in range m and for c in range n, which means we are checking every row and column of this grid. If grid of row and column is equal to 0, which means if it's an unvisited island and we are looking for land, right, and 0 was land and water was marked over here as already visited, or like water, 1 was marked here as already visited water. So if it is land, then we call our DFS function, which means we explore our DFS. Over here we explore DFS. Once we have explored DFS and it returns true, if it returns true, then we will increase our counter by 1, and it performs this on the whole grid, and then at the end we just return count.